starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey, welcome back, Paul. Welcome back, Mike, champion. Welcome back,
Thank you,
champ.
sir. Thank you, sir. Go birds, go birds.
Paul, you look like you want to say something. Is it because you're not seasoned?
Because he's underseasoned.
Oh yeah, you're under seasons. That's right.
I think you're muted, Paul.
So I found out earlier today that I'm different sides of the skin complexion. You know, depending on what angle you see me, I could possibly be over seasoned. But then if you look at me at a different angle, I could be under seasoned. And then depending on if you're tall or not, I could be a burned chitlin or a burned crab rangoon. Depending on how you look at me, or or I'm just black facing it out. I'm really white and I just got a really good tan going on. In the winter.
In the winter.
Hey, it is what it is. I do, if you guys don't mind, have some a little bit of a rant to kind of go on the for the birds.
Oh, okay. All
If y'all
right.
don't mind.
You earned it, sir. You earned it.
All right. First things first. I have to thank Nick Saban twofold. One, you groomed one of the fiercest leaders of men in Jalen Hurts that I've ever seen in my life. The dude gets benched in the national title game, sticks around. We know his story. Goes to a Super Bowl, outplays Pat Mahomes, loses off a bullshit call. 2 years later, is back in the Super Bowl, outplays Pat Mahomes again, and now he's a Super Bowl MVP. Second part I need to thank Nick Saban on is for Devontae Smith, a Heisman Trophy winner, who is our wide receiver two. I'm just saying, how many other teams have wide receiver twos that have won a Heisman Trophy? Next, obviously, I have to thank Joe Shane and the Giants for being completely retarded. Completely.
Touche.
Mr. Mara, I hope that you don't sleep again next year. Uh, and then I have to thank Jerry Jones for being a complete moron as an owner who got rid of a Super Bowl winning coach
Yeah.
for a new head coach who is proving not dick in the NFL. I don't know if he's ever called plays by himself in the NFL. And now they're talking about trading Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
You can't make this stuff up.
It just was like winning the Super Bowl, and this one's more special to me because I got to watch it with Romeo, and he kind of understood and was freaking out the whole time about winning the Super Bowl. But you also got stories like Mekhi Becton, who's a first-round tackle. The New York Jets ruined
the Jets
him.
Didn't want him. Basically, didn't want him anymore. Yeah.
Threw him off. Came to Philly on a one-year prove-it deal, and was one of the highest PFF graded right guards in the league.
Somebody else's trash is somebody else's gold.
Bro, and it's not just him. Zach Bond. Zach Bond was playing special teams last year for the Saints.
Yeah.
Comes in, leading tackler on the Eagles, all pro his first season, finalist for Defensive Player of the Year, picks off Patty Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Like,
I got a question for you, Pat. Seeing Cooper DeJean have the year that he had as a Packers fan, how much does that upset you?
It burns more because Mike was right. I think it burns me and Charles more that Mike was right. And I think Mike, that's another one you need to clap your hands and tip your cap to.
That was a steal.
a steal, upper man. Well, they knocked it out of the park with both of them that they
Yeah.
picked.
Yeah,
Both of those
I mean
Davion
defenders
Mitchell
were.
and Cooper DeJean are going to be a cornerstone in y'all's defensive back for a long
Oh yeah,
time.
for sure.
bro.
Those were two Super Bowl pieces the whole season for those
Yeah.
guys. They were solid all year.
And the fact that he was able to get a pick six off of Patrick Mahomes, not only as
On
a
his
rookie,
birthday,
Yeah, on
on
his
his
birthday.
birthday, and to actually help lead that team defensively to a Super Bowl title, like as a rookie player, you have to
you
feel good
dream
about
of it.
yourself moving forward with this team.
You dream of doing shit like that. But
Yeah.
you guys are absolutely right. I mean, when we jumped Washington, I was like, "There's no fucking way we get Cooper DeJean."
And the
I
fact
thought we were
that you
going,
stole him.
bro. I thought we were going Edgerrin Cooper. I thought maybe Peyton Wilson, the linebacker for the Steelers, who would have been fucking phenomenal too, because this kid is a freak. But Coop, when we put him in, and people forget he didn't start playing until
Wasn't
week
he coming off
6.
injury? Still, he was still from injuries, right? From his leg.
Yeah, he had torn an ACL, and or no, he broke his leg. I think.
I think it's like his fibula or something. He broke
Yeah,
it. But yeah, like for
he
him to come in like the way he did is you couldn't ask nothing more
weeks
from a rookie.
week 6. You come in one. People are already giving you shit because you're a white guy who plays quarterback,
Fast
like
and fast.
and
Right.
fast. And not only that, you're one of the best. I don't think he missed a tackle all year. Like he put a hit on Derrick Henry I've never seen put on Derrick Henry before.
And Blankenship going down might have been his biggest blessing
Well,
for him because he got to step up in a different way.
Well, that's the thing is Blankenship didn't go down. It was Avonte Maddox, our starting nickel corner, who went down. Blankenship is the he plays our safety alongside CJGJ. That's another dude I have to give the a tip of the cap to. CJGJ coming back after an injury last year in Detroit. He had 6 picks this year, which was tied for the most on the team.
Yeah.
You're talking about a team that in the playoffs had a plus 13 takeaway ratio.
Yeah.
Like we had one giveaway the entire postseason, and it was to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And our defense was so dominant, it didn't matter. They punted after they intercepted it anyway.
Well,
So
Philadelphia definitely laid the groundwork moving forward for what a team needs to do to beat the Chiefs. Not necessarily. I mean, obviously
Y'all
Philadelphia is
laid a
going to be good
clinic.
for a while, but let's
Y'all
be
laid
honest.
out
They
a
put
clinic.
well the tackling. Like if you watch the Super Bowl, there was not a point in time in that game until late in the third quarter. The game is already over at this point.
Right.
And Philadelphia just kind of took their foot off the gas because let's be honest, it was the defense more than it was anything. That game.
6 sacks on Patty Mahomes. And I
guess
saw a
what?
stat.
I did not watch. I did not see a fucking blitz the entire.
That's what they
game.
said. They said the
That was
whole
the
game there
D-line.
was no blitz. He had, I think it was 42 or 45 pressures that he had, and 0 of them 45 pressures were blitz.
Well, guess what?
All of them
So-
were just those 4 guys up at the front.
With an aging offensive line and no money for Patrick Mahomes anywhere around him, this might have been his last hurrah. Like he might make it to another Super Bowl.
But
Winning
they
one,
definitely
he's gonna
figured
be
out
tough.
how to beat Patty Mahomes.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
stack that line,
Yeah,
make sure you
but
stack that line with good guys, and you're gonna get to him.
Yeah.
But you also have to understand that like getting a line that averages 6'6" and weighs 350 pounds,
And
not
young.
everybody can do.
And young.
And young. And think about this. Lane Johnson is a Pro Bowler, All Pro, 2-time Super Bowl champion. Landon Dickerson is a Pro Bowl and All Pro player. Cam Jurgens, in his first year starting as a center, is a Pro Bowl and a second team All Pro player.
Right, but the thing is, Mike, though, you literally replaced probably the best center of all time. Like that's the part that people forget. Like that was a question mark. You were the only one. I mean, as being a big Philly fan, you were literally telling us, yeah, don't worry, they're fine. They're gonna be fine. But like the normal fan was looking at it like there's holes. It's like Swiss cheese. You're like, you have to swish this guy around. This guy's got to rotate over. Then you brought, like you said, Lane Johnson just played out of his mind. And Mekhi Becton, you literally last year were bitching about Mekhi Becton before he came to Philly. Remember, you were talking about how big of a piece of shit he was. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
The right system, the right coaching, completely
Jeff
changed.
Stoutland. I'm telling you, it's insanity. And then you have to think too, like I'm after the Washington game, I knew we were going to win the Super Bowl. When we put up a double nickel in the conference championship game, you know what it felt like? It felt like the NFC title game against the Vikings when we beat the Pats. That's exactly what this year felt like.
And you know what you guys
Because
proved though this year? I think for me, the biggest just like okay, y'all literally proved that their offense was the problem.
yeah, oh yeah, 100%.
That was the
Because
glaring issue for Kansas City all year. Even though they won their 15 games, they didn't score no more than 30 points all year, except one time against the Bills. But that was in the postseason. Other than that, the most points they scored was 30, 3 times. Everything else was 22 or less.
yep,
You guys literally showed that yes, their defense was good, but clearly it wasn't a match against y'all's defense because y'all's defense gave y'all great field positions majority of the game, which allowed y'all's offense to capitalize. Even with Barkley not having the most outstanding game, he did enough. He was still enough of an issue that allowed AJ and Devontae Smith to be the problem that they are.
yeah. And that's the thing is like with Saquon, and I was just getting ready to bring that up. Saquon had less than 60 yards rushing
Yeah.
and only 40 yards receiving, but he picked up blitzes really well on that bomb to Devontae in the third.
Yeah.
Saquon's the first person to pick up a crazy oncoming free runner,
Yeah.
and he not only did he put this dude in the dirt, like put his shoulder into him and put him in the dirt. So Saquon to me, like my favorite thing on Monday was listening to Nick Wright apologize
Oh, what
and
an
say
idiot he was.
"Oh, I was completely wrong that Saquon wouldn't make a difference and this was a waste of money."
I really
Like
wish that he would just never have another take on the NFL ever again.
it doesn't make sense. Everybody around you said you're fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Like this guy was the rookie of the year, the offensive rookie of the year. He was stuck behind a line that I know you don't know most offensive line names, but they had nobody.
And it's not just that.
Nobody.
Anything that Saquon did in New
And no
York, he did
supporting
it. He
cast.
did it himself. He had to earn every single yard that he did in New York. In Philly, it was easy because he had lines, and not just that. It helps when you have receivers that can do stuff, and they can't just stack the box on you now because
Bro.
they gotta guard the AJ Brown. They gotta guard Dotson. They gotta guard everybody. There's nobody on your squad that they just can't just leave alone.
Well, and the other thing too is that Kansas City, it shows you the level that their defense is at because Baltimore stacked the box against us and Saquon had over 100 yards rushing. Steelers stacked the box on us and he still ate them up too. So, Chiefs have a good defense. What they don't have is a complementary defense. Their rush and their linebackers and their back four they're not all playing together. You could tell Chris Jones was trying to be Chris Jones, right? You could tell Trent McDuffie was trying to make a play. Whereas if you look at the Eagles' defensive line, look how when they rush, nobody's rushing past Mahomes. All they're doing is collapsing the pocket.
And
So
y'all did
even when
that like a clinic.
when he stepped up, there was guys who weren't even getting pressure. He stepped up into sacks.
Yeah.
The defense, that's the other person I have to thank. The other group of people I have to thank. Fuck you to the Miami Dolphins. You guys are all fucking dumb.
Oh, Vic Fangio.
Didn't I
Yes,
tell you Vic Fangio is probably one of the best defensive coordinators? I loved him in Chicago. That man's defensive mind is built different.
We went from 30th to first
After
because
that
young
bye week,
players.
he flipped y'all around.
Bro, this is what kills me, right? All these pro players, fucking Xavier and Howard, all these guys in the Dolphins who were like, "Oh, Vic coaches too hard," and then you send him to a team with a defensive line full of Georgia guys who Kirby Smart coached the dog shit out of. That hardcore old school SEC coaching. Vic came in and said, "Oh, y'all are used to me talking shit. Okay, cool. We can get all of the feeling out shit out of the way, and we can just be a coach." And if you listen to Jalen Carter or Jordan Davis or N'Kobe Dean or CJ and ask them about Vic Fangio, they will tell you how much they love him, how much the system has changed the way they played. And you can look, anytime there was a Chief who had the ball, how many people that were Eagles were around him?
Swarm.
6?
Well, I know
Swarm.
one
Yeah.
thing. I know one thing that there was never a play outside of that one touchdown pass at the end where he got beat by a
Yeah.
footstep, and that was a great pass by Mahomes too. But there wasn't one play that an Eagles defender wasn't in front of a Chiefs player. They literally, that was the definition of man-to-man defense. Like, it might not have been man-to-man, but that was what man-to-man defense looks like when every player is playing their position exactly the
Yep.
way that they were told to do.
Wholeheartedly, my vote. I vote whenever the voting came. I voted for Jalen Hurts for MVP. Like, because it would be ridiculous. I think. However, if you could give it to a group of motherfuckers, your whole
Defensive
defense should have
line.
got the
Whole
VP.
defense, yeah.
Because
Bro,
that defense.
you
when I
could
tell
make-
you,
bro,
you
could
telling
make a
me
case.
not only did you shut out the KC in one half, not a point, but Mahomes didn't even throw for more than like 50 or 60 yards. I think by the end of the
Dude.
first quarter, he only had 24 passing yards at the end of the first quarter. That's ridiculous.
I thought
Yes,
there was
he
a
had
point in
24.
time
He had 23 passing yards, and we had 24 points.
they didn't
Like,
get
that's
over the
just
50
what the fuck?
They didn't get over the 50-yard line until like late in the third quarter.
It was
Yeah,
over.
it was- Bro,
The
it was-
game, like
it
I said,
was-
the game was over at halftime. It wasn't even.
It was 2 minutes. 2 minutes left in the third quarter when they finally got past the 50. And that pass you were talking about, I don't know if people realize, as 2 minutes into the fourth quarter, they took all of our defensive starters out. So
There
the
was
guys
no
who got
point
burnt, the guys who got burnt for the touchdowns are second and third string guys
Yeah,
playing in a
it was-
Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was late in the fourth quarter. It
By the
was like
time,
it was like 4 and a half
halfway through the
minutes left
fourth
in the
quarter,
half.
whether you wanted to admit it or not, Mike, that game was over.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, you have to understand. I remember the Super Bowl where Donovan McNabb and T.O. almost beat the Pats. And Donovan McNabb just playing like dog shit. And now, look, Jalen was playing his motherfucking ass off. He had the one bad throw where he kind of got surprised and lost the corner.
But that's what I like about Jalen. He doesn't let those moments eat him alive.
Bro, he is the ultimate. He's what you want as a quarterback. Never too high when he succeeds, never too low when he fucks up. And when other guys are fucking up, he will hold their fucking feet to the fire, but do it in a way where they're going to get better.
You have a very good chance of repeating. Like, you have a very solid chance.
I'm not speaking that. I'm not saying that shit at all.
I'm just saying, because most of the players that you have on contract are coming back. But either way, the way that y'all fucking destroyed everybody.
Oh, they'll be the favorite.
You say that, and that's very true. Every one of our offensive linemen is locked up. AJ's locked up. AJ's locked up till 2028. Jalen's locked up till.
Didn't Devontae just get an extension too?
Yeah.
AJ is locked up till 28. Jalen till 28, and Devontae till 27.
And you still got 2 years with Saquon.
Yeah, Saquon still has 2 more years. All of our defensive linemen, except for Milton Williams and Josh Sweat, are rookies or on a rookie deal.
Y'all could possibly in the next 3 years, y'all could possibly win one more at least. At least
our
cornerbacks not out of the realm of possibility. They're definitely
our cornerbacks minus. Yeah, I mean our cornerbacks minus Slay are all young. CJ's only 28, so he's going to be a safety for a minute.
And y'all only signed him for a year, right?
Slay is always Slay's always
we
been
gave
the way he plays. He's going to be fine.
Yeah. We gave CJ a 3-year.
Y'all are going to be all right for the next couple years. Y'all should be moving into next year. Y'all should definitely be the favorite out of the NFC at a minimum, if not the whole thing.
It will be going into this.
This is what I think. This is what I think is going to happen. So, Mekhi Becton, I think we prioritize him to keep him on the line. He's too good
right
to just let him go. Josh Sweat, I think he's going to end up going because he got 2.5 sacks in the Super Bowl. He's played out of his mind this postseason.
Well,
Contract year.
realistically, you can replace what he brings to the table. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's. I mean,
Well, look,
he a
If he
great
decides
player?
to
Yes,
walk.
he's a great player, but not for what he's going to ask for.
no,
You
because
guys
he's
can
going to
replace him.
command. He's going to command probably 45 million
Oh yeah, he's going to ask for
over
like,
3 years.
yeah, he's going to want like 13
And he
million.
earned it rightfully so.
Yeah,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah,
There's
absolutely.
nothing against
Just
that.
got to go get it somewhere else.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is if you look, our rookie Jalix Hunt, who that's another guy. If you don't know his story, the dude started off as a safety at Cornell, an Ivy League school.
So he was smart.
Transferred,
Smarty. Yeah,
very smart.
That means he knows how to read them playbooks.
that's right.
Absolutely. Transferred to Houston. It was Houston Christian or it's Houston Baptist at the time. Very small school. To the point where they were playing on what looks like a high school football field. Becomes Houston Christian. He's the first ever player in the history of that school to receive a combine invite. Goes to the combine, goes to the Senior Bowl, not combine, goes to the Senior Bowl, and balls out. Has like 4 sacks in the Senior Bowl. He was projected to be like a 6th-round pick or an undrafted free agent. We picked him in the 3rd round. He just got a sack and a half in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
listen, man.
Like Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, like
y'all are gonna be fine for a few years.
And think about it. If there's a defensive line in the world that knows how to repeat and has gone back to back for championships,
I'm just saying you've gone to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years with practically the same team outside of Saquon or whatever, and maybe a few other key players. But for the most part, you've got the same core team. You got better in 3 years worth since 2 years technically to be able to do that. And so you're telling me you're basically keeping the same team, the core of the team, moving for at least 2 to 3 years. There's no way that if anybody says y'all can't win at least one more, they're smoking crack.
Well, we gotta. The other thing you gotta take into account is we just lost Kellen Moore.
I hear you, and that is correct. But I still think y'all are gonna be fine.
I'm look. This is how confident I am. I think our floor.
Intact. I think they'll be okay.
I think our floor next year is 12 wins. That's our floor.
I don't see why y'all can't do the exact same thing y'all did this year.
I think we could. I think honestly we could go 15 wins and that would be the franchise high winning total in the regular season. But this is the thing is like this team peaked at exactly the time you want a team to peak at.
Because y'all didn't lose a game after that bye week outside of week 18. Did y'all lose week 18?
We lost one to Washington. That was when Jalen got a concussion.
Right. But outside of that,
nope. We went 16-1 in our last 17 games. Bro, it's just like it is. The other kind of like we defined pick your poison with our offense this year. Like we showed you, if you stop Saquon, which
in theory they did.
If you stop Saquon, AJ Brown is going to eat your cornerback's soul. You want to double? Yeah, I was about to say. Now you want to double team AJ Brown because you're smart and you want to bracket.
And even with
6'3", 230.
You still got.
And then now you got
move.
We got the Slim Reaper who's going to go for a 40-yard bomb. We got Dallas Goedert who's going to stiff arm you out your socks. Sorry, Pat. I know that's kind of a hardcore memory for a Green Bay fan, but
that was a tough one. Watching a tight end just face plant.
It was truly a sight to see y'all playing that Super Bowl and the way that y'all manhandled Kansas City. Like one, I was happy to see KC go down, but 2, most importantly, I was happy to see Saquon get the year and get the moment that he's deserved over his career.
Finishing that season off, one of the best seasons for running back of all time.
And to cap it off with a ring.
Cake. Yeah.
You couldn't ask
and then
for a better
think about
year.
this. Like, think about it. This is Brandon Graham's last game. He came back from a torn tricep 10 weeks ago. Now,
Okay,
granted,
go out on top.
Yeah.
he only played 13 snaps.
Who
But
cares?
you're a 15-year veteran. You just got your second ring on your retirement. Your last game was a Super Bowl win. Saquon, Mekhi Becton, Jalen. Like, I'm so happy for Jalen because now
He's definitely now solidified the best quarterback in that division by
well,
miles.
not
I mean,
yeah.
come on.
By
Outside of
Can't
people
nobody say
trolling-
anything at this
outside of
point
people
now.
trolling, Paul. Everybody knew
I'm
who
just
the best
saying,
quarterback was.
Dak Prescott is definitely not the best quarterback in that division.
No, I mean it was.
oh,
always a
did you
troll.
see? Did you fucking people see what Dak said? Somebody interviewed him after the Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
he still said that the Cowboys are close or whatever.
He was like, yeah. He was like, yeah. I think the Cowboys are close. He was like, I'm not gonna say,
smokes way too much drugs,
bro.
What pack is he smoking?
It's not.
This is what he said though. This is the crazy thing. He was like, look, I'm not gonna say check the record, but check the record. And then
When
he
have
was
you
like,
made it
but
past the divisional round? Check
he
that
was
record.
like, but he was like, I'm not gonna say check the record because they're holding the ring right now, and congratulations to him. The whole time in my head, I was thinking,
oh boy,
you got paid $60 million this year.
Yeah.
You played 6 games. Shut your bitch ass up.
This is
Like,
my thing.
hold on, before you
Yeah,
let me
go
finish
ahead.
real quick. I try not to take shit personally because one, they're football players and they don't know we fucking they don't give a shit about us. They don't know we exist. But bro, the amount of absolute crack rocks you are smoking to think that your owner got rid of a Super Bowl winning coach for a coach who has never called a play in the NFL in his life. Your owner is talking about trading the only positive you had on your defense all year. The owner told everybody last year you were going all in. How did that work?
Multiple years.
Oh, that's right. You were like 1-5 in division and third only because the Giants didn't know the position of quarterback even existed anymore, and their rookie receiver still got 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Like,
And he missed a couple games.
and he missed. Like I've told all of my Cowboys friends, you have lost the right to ever tell me shit about the quarterback position ever again. Dak has been in the league for 8 years.
Is this an arrogant
6
thing to say? Is that I have more faith that the New York Giants will be in a Super Bowl before the Cowboys are?
No.
Because
at least-
because I think their future is brighter offensively. I mean,
Well, that
eventually
and-
Lamb's going to want to leave. CD's
I'm like,
gonna be
even
fuck Dallas.
even with New York just completely fumbling the bag with Saquon, right? I feel like
And Xavier McKinney.
I feel like even whatever quarterback situation they got, I'm not like completely sold on Dable, but I could say at least he has somewhat of an idea. Again, he helped coach Josh Allen to what he is now. He was part of that process. You know what I'm saying?
The Giants have won Super Bowls, and at least they do know how to win. Dallas has been when was the last
After
time
the
Dallas
VHS
actually
era,
won a
they've won
playoff?
2 Super Bowls after the VHS era. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I like.
Yeah,
how you
but
call
that's
the
when-
VHS era.
That's funny as shit. But the difference between the Giants and the Cowboys for real is that
I think
John
the owner
Mara-
wants to win.
John Morrow wants to win, and Jerry Jones wants the Cowboys to keep making him money. It's
Right.
different.
Yeah.
That's why, like,
Ego driven.
Absolutely.
this is the thing, right? Like, what people don't understand is Jeffrey Lurie sold a small, very non-controlling stake of the team, right? And he said, there's a part of it I just needed to step away from as owner so I can focus on the actual football running of this team. He was like, I trust Howie, obviously. I trust Nick, obviously. But, you know, sometimes you want to kind of focus. Whereas Jerry Jones, like, there's a difference between...
He's a micromanager.
Yes, I was just getting ready to say that.
Shitty one.
There's a difference between overseeing and saying, oh, okay, hey, let me give you my input and let's build a roster, versus Mike Vrabel's out there, but I'm going to hire Brian Schottenheimer. Or, hey, Eric Bieniemy's still out there.
Like,
Or, I don't know, fucking whoever,
I
right?
get as
Like,
an owner, you want to have your input. This is your team. This is your business. I get it. But at the end of the day, like I feel like you have to allow people that have done this for a while and that have succeeded in that role,
Here,
allow them the ability. But the fact that you can't get out of your own fucking way, you are a detriment to what your team is doing right now. And you can't even see that as the owner.
the
Jerry
issue,
Jones, the
one,
new
one
version
of,
of Al Davis.
one of the issues with Dallas is too, and it's not just Jerry Jones. This is a front office thing, and I think everybody's just afraid of the front office, whether it be Jerry Jones, everybody else that's involved.
Steven,
I
yeah.
I don't believe that Dallas would have went. McCarthy was probably about as all in as they're ever going to go on a coach. And let's be honest with that. That was about as big of a home run hire as Dallas is probably ever going to have. I mean, they're going to go with whoever's going to be the yes man. That's Dallas.
And
That's their MO.
that's exactly who they hired as their head coach. He
Exactly.
Well,
looks
that's
like
why-
a yes man.
Schottenheimer. Yeah.
Isn't that's why they fired Jimmy Johnson, right? Because he
Yeah.
and Jerry used to just
Yeah.
And that's the
Well,
thing.
heads,
This
yeah.
man just won you 2 Super Bowls, three Super Bowls, 2 of them back to back, and you let him walk because he didn't want to do it your way.
He
Bro, and
butted,
see, this
he
is-
butted heads because it wasn't his. What was it? It wasn't. Didn't he say it wasn't his Super Bowl? It was
Yeah.
his Super Bowl. But Jimmy.
It was
Johnson
Jimmy's
said,
Super
yeah,
Bowl.
He's like, I
Yeah.
won that Super Bowl, so he got pissed.
Yeah, Jerry's very sensitive. Like, it's so funny that you have literally you could buy everything in the world, and you're
Except
such
coach.
a sensitive. Yeah, well, and you're still a sensitive little bitch. Like, honestly, you know who I kind of would have liked to see on Dallas, and this is not me being an Eagles fan. This is me kind of being intrigued about what he would do with Micah Parsons. Be somebody like a Lovie Smith.
Yeah.
Well, we know that's never going to happen because he's a shade too dark.
Yeah, that's. I mean, they completely bypassed that Rooney Rule. Holy shit, bro!
He's a couple shades too dark for that role.
Bro, do you know who the only franchise in NFL history to have 2 black quarterbacks start the Super Bowl is?
It would be Philadelphia. So it's what
It is.
McNabb and
Jalen Hurts.
Right? Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts joins a very small group of black quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl as the 4th in NFL history.
And think about it, he's won a national title and a Super Bowl.
But
That's a
Devontae
starting
Smith
quarterback.
is the only NFL player to win a Heisman, a national championship, and a Super Bowl in their career. The
Yep.
only NFL player to do that. And the first Alabama
Wide receiver to catch
wide
a,
receiver
to
to
catch a
catch
touchdown.
to score a touchdown in a Super Bowl.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
As many
Yeah,
Alabama
considering-
people in the NFL.
That's a crazy fucking stat right there. Like, I
Bro,
bet you if you
it's-
put that up to trivia, NFL trivia, people would be like, no fucking way that was the first time ever. No way. Guarantee you everybody would be like, no. That's
33 players, Alabama players that have played in the Super Bowl, and Devontae Smith was the first Alabama player to score a touchdown.
That's insanity.
Technically, hold on.
It was a double. It was a double take with Jalen to Devontae
I was
Smith.
about to
But
say-
as far as a skill player,
No.
he's the first
But
skill-
even before that Devontae Smith touchdown,
Are you
Jalen
talking
Hurts
about-
had a tush
Are you
push.
talking about former teammates?
We're talking about skill player though. Skill player. We're
Oh,
not
you're talking about skill
quarterback.
positions. Okay,
skill
yeah.
position.
Yeah.
But so it's like to say
But
that.
Jalen and Devontae Smith are the
Technically,
first two
Yes.
to do. Well, no, they're the first two to play in a national championship together and win a Super Bowl together.
I'm like, you
Bro,
guys,
it's-
y'all had a blueprint all year, and y'all did not let off the gas at any point throughout the season, and it paid off at the end. You found a way to win the games that you needed to win, and then when it mattered most, you jokers showed up, and you showed up big. You dropped a 40 piece on the 2-time defending Super Bowl champions on
In
national
the
TV.
fucking Super Bowl.
And-
It was.
It was a sight to see. It definitely was.
Bro,
And congratulations,
when-
man. I know you was fucking yelling in that apartment.
Bro, when Cooper DeJean caught that pick six,
Oh,
I lost my.
So-
I started crying, dude. I
That
was
a
like,
sick,
Let-
that
let
was a
me-
sick move.
Let me tell you a quick
extra
funny
help to the
story.
offensive lineman.
So
Yes.
I got a homie. He's from Africa, right? He's one of my good
Yeah.
friends. I was in his wedding this year, and he knows that I have a sports podcast. And he was like, "Man, I'm trying to find me a football team." I was like, "Listen, I would love for you to be a Bears fan, but I wouldn't do that to you, right?" And then he was like, "I heard about these. What's the team out of Philly?" I was like, "Listen, if you're gonna do anything, I would support that move as long as it's not Dallas." The first, as soon as I said Cowboys, he said, "That's never gonna happen."
Yeah. Good
And
man.
but he came over, to watch the game with me, and the moment that Cooper picked that thing off, we both dropped our plates and we were like, "Fucking A!" Like
Bro, I'm
that was a
telling you,
moment, bro.
when I saw, so this is the craziest thing, like, and that pick six highlights it, but the two plays before that, the pocket collapsed and
It was
Jalen
back-to-back
Carter,
sacks, correct? I believe it was
bro,
back-to-back sacks.
yeah, first down, and then it led to 2nd and 14. A second down sack led to 3rd and 16. They were trying to get Patrick Mahomes some kind of rhythm, so they rolled him out right. And Cooper, I guess he didn't see Cooper because Cooper was
Yeah,
in zone, but the linebacker had passed. He had passed off to the
that was a
linebacker,
hell of a read.
so Cooper
It
dropped
was a
down.
crazy read because he literally stepped in front.
Yeah, all he did was drop down out of his zone, and he was going back to the middle of the field, and Patty threw it. And if you look at the catch was just
Yeah, he
a
read the
yank,
route. He read the route and took it away. Yeah.
Now, answer me
bro.
this. Answer me this, Mike, because I've been waiting till today to ask this question for you and for you only. One is a
Yes.
two-part question, and you're
Okay.
gonna have to answer them both at the same time. Number one, that AJ Brown PI was bullshit. Don't say nothing.
Yep.
Don't say nothing. However, comma, that Goddard, whatever the
Yep.
fuck, that was
Yep.
bullshit too. Both of
It
those
was,
were bullshit.
but that's what we call that's what we
the
call
NFL in a nutshell this year.
yeah, really. But that's what you call a get back penalty. The refs knew they
Yeah,
fucked up on the first one.
Yeah.
They were like,
They
all right,
weren't
let's.
terrible. I mean, they weren't awful. Those
No.
were the two worst calls of the whole game.
Well, that and the bullshit false start on our fucking long snapper when we're kicking.
Okay, but you know why they did that? Because they literally were trying to stop the clock, and they were just like, the officials literally were like, okay, he flinched. I mean, to be honest, they wouldn't call it any other time except the Super Bowl.
Never.
They did
Never.
have some missed calls, like the hands to the face on Mahomes. I will give that. That was a missed call.
Oh, the Jalen Carter one, yeah.
I'm like, I wouldn't say that it was like a complete missed call, but
it
I understood the
No,
after
no.
they explained it, it made sense.
No, it isn't a missed call though. They did call the
Why is it-
penalty. They
'Cause the
called
ball was
penalty,
already out of his
The ball
hands.
was already out of his hands, so the play is dead right there. And
The-
then
Oh,
they
and
did
because
it.
he was within the one step,
But
right?
officiating wise, this was probably outside of especially those two on with.
Well,
Goddard
you
and
know
AJ,
why that-
it wasn't the worst official. It was.
Do you know why that
It was a
is,
decent
right?
game.
Because if you screwed the Philadelphia Eagles fans out of a Super Bowl by bro, there was nowhere an NFL ref would be safe.
Well, I'm glad.
And I don't
that
ca- it
never
wouldn't
even
have-
was close to coming to that. Unfortunately,
It would have never. And this is look. Let me disclaimer this. I'm not threatening any NFL officials. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm telling you is that after the
Allegedly.
emotional year and coming back from that fucking historical collapse of last year, to come back and win the Super Bowl and the way they performed, if the refs would have fucked us out of the Lombardi, NFL headquarters would have gotten stormed.
I just want to say this. I am proud of you guys that you did not destroy the city of New Orleans because
I didn't think
they
were
would
gonna,
have
but
fucked y'all
burned-
up.
They did almost burn down a few trash cans with some fireworks.
Listen though,
but other
I'm
than
just
that,
letting
I mean, it
you
was pretty decent.
and Mike can understand.
Well,
understand
yeah.
this. Listen, you can go fuck up Philly all you want. New Orleans is not the city you want to fuck with.
No. Mm-mm.
They
New
will
Orleans,
shoot you.
look, those
Well,
people,
got
they are
a
great.
murder down there too.
They will shoot you.
They are great. They are fantastic people until you fuck with them.
Don't
and
fuck
then-
with their city. Don't do it. Don't do it.
New Orleans has been through too much. Like, they just don't tolerate bullshit. Like, and it's not just like on some gangster, like, we'll kill you type shit. It's just like
Don't do it.
between Katrina and all the terrorist attacks.
And it just happened at the beginning of the year itself. Them 14 people that died at literally the first day of the year. Don't fuck with New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans was not the place. And Philly, look, the bad rap that Philly fans gets is that we're rough and we talk a lot of shit and we're loud. And I get all of that, and all of that is justified. I am by no means trying to negate the facts of the matter. But when Philly, if you look at when we won the Super Bowl in Minnesota, there were no incidents. There were no incidents in New Orleans. Like the Philly fans at home in Philly
destroyed the shit out of it.
That's our shit. We're also going to be the ones who are going to clean it up.
Right. But like Maya saw a video of a city getting messed up. She goes, they fucked up New Orleans. No. That's Philly fucking up Philly.
That was Philly, but
Yeah,
that was old. That was
I'm
from a
just
while
saying.
ago.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
that was
like-
the last Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was the last time they won the Super Bowl.
But I was like, Philly will fuck up Philly, but they're not gonna fuck up another city
Paul,
because they'll
listen,
die.
I commented on
Well-
a post about the Super Bowl. That same video that you're talking about, I commented on it. I said, listen, you people just don't understand. Philadelphia is a special breed. I mean, you guys literally have a radio show, The Fan, in Philly, where you guys call and berate and attack each other. I go, Philadelphia is the equivalent of the bare knuckles of the sports world. Like, it is not for everybody, but the people that are there, it's brotherly love, and those people love each other, and they hate each other. And that's sports.
But when the
Philly is
outsider
the
comes
biggest
in,
city
these
that you can
motherfuckers
possibly
come
have.
like this when an outsider
Bro,
comes
and
in.
it's-
they
and
hate
it's-
them. They hate them,
you
but they
can-
come together when it's Philly.
And you can see it even in the team. Yes, there were brothers fighting and arguing in the passing game, and maybe Hurts and Sirianni didn't have the best relationship coming into the season, or that's what everybody was saying, right?
But you work that
This
out to get past
motherfucker-
that. Yeah.
Bro, they galvanized. This team galvanized and came together, and people making a big deal out of AJ reading a book on the sideline, and then like
It's
all
not
of this
big deal.
distractions, all of the noise that this
Sirianni
team
had it in
had
his
to
pocket at the
overcome.
Super Bowl. Did you see that?
Yeah, hell yeah.
That was
I
pretty
fucking loved it.
sweet.
And then there was a moment, I don't know if you guys noticed, AJ like dropped a pass or missed Hurts threw a pass and it was short or something. And AJ came off and he was like, fuck, man. And Sirianni was like, calm down, AJ, we got it. Calm down. And he was like, all right, man, and just walked off. Right? And then the media immediately, Twitter was like, oh, AJ, this is the collapse we've been waiting for. The Eagles are going to fall apart in the Super Bowl. And then when we had 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, AJ and Devontae Smith give him the old Gatorade bath. But yeah, he hates his coach, that's for sure.
I'm like, y'all
Fuck outta
wanted
here.
that man on the stake at the beginning of the year.
Mandy goes, why are they doing the Gatorade bath this early? And I go, there's a prop bet. And I go, it doesn't matter when they give him the bath. If they know the game is literally at hand,
Done?
they're
Yeah.
going to do it. I go, it has
Period.
nothing to do with. And not only that, they've been fucking waiting for it the entire game. So let them do it whenever they want to do it. They almost got caught, though. I was
He
Yeah,
swerved
yeah.
them for a
He's
few
like,
seconds.
He like sets it down and he like looks around. I'm like, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. But it was one of those things. I'm telling you, like the first drive, I was like, wow, something's different. And then the first drive of Kansas City where it looked like Pat was his first, he was a rookie. He looked so
Yeah,
nervous.
There was absolutely no confidence the entire game from him. I
I've
don't know if
never
that's just-
seen him even in college look that rattled.
Well, I mean,
Like even at Texas Tech, he didn't play that rattled.
the sad thing with Kansas City is they have a bunch of aging receivers. Kelsey's not getting any younger. This whole team is just a bunch of old dudes. It's like, I don't get it. Like, I get that they got there, but that's not the team that should have been in the Super Bowl. I mean, I think Buffalo
No,
would have been a little bit better, but I still think they would've got dog walked. But I mean, it would have been a better game.
They would have gotten. It wouldn't have been 40-22.
No,
It
Buffalo
probably would have been
would've
like.
put a couple scores up anyway.
It probably would have been like 35-21 or something like
It
that.
would have been like, Buffalo's got the ball. They're going down
Yeah.
for a chance, and then Allen fumbles or they throw an interception, and then there's your game. It would have been more interesting, but
Yeah, but they had the same problem that Kansas City had. Their wide receivers weren't better than our
no,
defensive backs.
one-dimensional
Yeah.
offense,
And their
Allen
running
can't
their
do
running
anything
game
himself.
was fantastic. But if all we do is say, okay, look at how dominant our front four was, right? if Buffalo started the run, do you know what they would have done? All they would have done is they would have rotated Oren Burks from the linebacker level onto the edge and brought a fifth man down. And Oren Burks stepping in for Nakobe Dean
Well,
has two forced fumbles.
Yeah,
Like the kid is,
Buffalo
yeah,
didn't have the horses either. I mean, to
no,
keep up with them defensively, they were they were a shell of what Kansas City was.
yeah.
So it was probably better that they didn't make it anyway. So
And I think there's a bunch of, I got hit up by some Lions fans. Oh, if we would have beat you guys in the suit, if we would have seen you guys in the NFC title game, I was like, bro.
well, speaking
I
of
said,
Lions fans, did you
if
hear
you think,
anything of this, Mike, about the C.J. Gardner Johnson's mom's restaurant getting attacked by Swiftie fans? Is this true?
yes,
Or
yeah,
this
it's
was
100%
true that
true.
they literally were leaving bad Yelp reviews?
Uh-huh.
What pieces of
Calling
shit?
her the N-word.
You gotta be shitting me. See, this is
Oh,
the
bro,
worst.
it was,
This is the worst part of fans, no matter if it's music, sports, athletics. We all talk about this. Paul, you know it personally with the trolling and all that stuff. These are the worst people that are out there because you're literally attacking a person's livelihood. I mean, you get
and
engagement from it.
And
It's
for
great
what?
for you. But for you,
and
what?
you're
I don't
you're
get it.
attacking a person's livelihood who literally has nothing to do with what you're upset about.
She has nothing to do with
Like,
the Super Bowl.
yeah,
It
it
made no
was,
sense. It was that
yeah,
all
no,
just
but
because Kelsey and him got into it a little bit. I mean,
and they didn't even really get into it. CJ just literally stood with his arms behind his
yeah,
back. He jawed a little bit. Kelsey jawed a little bit.
that's football.
Kelsey, I love Travis Kelsey because I'm
Yeah.
I'm a really big fan of his as a person.
Yeah, they're
Um,
great. They're great people. They're
did you
awesome to
see
listen
him?
to.
Did you see him try to push Jordan Davis?
Probably
And
not smart.
Jordan Davis looked at him like, "You're not even moving me. You're 6'5". I'm 6'8", and I'm 342
Yeah.
pounds or some
You
shit,
ever try to
some
push a
such shit like
semi
that.
truck? It doesn't work very well, does it?
And well, this is the other thing. Like people forget Jordan Davis. Go back to last year. Jordan Davis chased down a full sprint Josh Allen out of the pocket.
Oof.
That's fucking insane to see a Mack truck chasing down Josh Allen.
Right.
It just this
Josh Allen's
year,
not that
man.
guy.
No, God, no. This year, man. Oh, and I will tell you, my least favorite and my favorite thing about this Super Bowl are the same thing. Carson Wentz refusing to shake Jalen Hurts' hand after the game.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's my favorite thing because now Carson Wentz
bitter.
has to realize that two of his backups both started
Super
and
Bowls.
won Super
Yeah.
Bowls, and they're both Super Bowl MVP. And it's my least favorite thing because I thought Carson was a decent dude, but this showed me like you're a complete piece of shit. Like, what do you? You're mad at Jalen for what?
I don't even get it. He wasn't going to win the starting job. So what are you irritated and pissed off about?
Because he lost to the team that drafted him, and at the same time, he lost to a backup.
I guess, but I think
A backup who's now considered like a top 5 quarterback in the league.
I think the bigger issue with that is that it never worked out in Philly for him, and he's just bitter.
Yeah, I mean between him and Golden Tate, I don't know who's more bitter. Those two fucking douchebags. But this year overall, man, has been from a Philly fan's perspective. Like, I will tell you this: there were more Sundays where I was not stressed out about football, which is a really weird feeling.
It's a good feeling.
To just
it's a weird feeling, yeah.
To go into a Sunday night game and just be like, oh, I don't even have to worry about like, all right, let's just see what Saquon can do. Oh, okay, 70 yards. Okay, 70
yards. That was us with college football last year with Michigan, but you got to witness the same exact feelings with Philadelphia this year. We didn't give you any shit. I mean, there was a couple times where we were giving you help, but that was early in the season when the Packers were playing the Eagles, and I think even Charles, if he was here, he would give you your props. He was talking all week. He talked last night. He's like, there's two things that he said to me. He goes, I really got to witness like the best and the worst of football. Like the best is Philadelphia ending the whole Mahomes thing, and the three-peat didn't happen. It's still intact. It's still history can be made. It sucks that history didn't get to be made for Mahomes, but whatever. And then we also got to see the end of the Swifties in the Kelsey era. I mean, I don't believe that the NFL is going to go back to that. Hopefully, they find something else to latch onto, and we can just wipe our hands full of this. Speaking of media and music, Paul, you said you want to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl halftime show.
Give me one
Hell
second.
yeah. But yeah, no, it's. I hope we're done with Taylor Swift in football. Like,
Right?
I hope that she is gone, and I hope. I don't know that Travis Kelsey's gonna retire
I don't think so. I thought he said
because
he's going
going
to
out
go.
like that is.
Ooh, I don't think he wants to go like that. Definitely
I
not.
don't think Jason would let him retire off a loss like that.
Mike, what did he
Like,
have? Like one catch for like 8 yards or something?
well, he had 3 catches for 34 yards.
3 for 34. But that one had to have been in the fourth quarter because he didn't have a catch
Yeah,
going into the third. I don't think.
Sorry about that. So about this
good.
wonderful show that 90% of humans didn't like.
I think they didn't. I don't think it's not about liking. I don't think they understood.
Right. And that's fine. Still idiots. Because I feel like, yes, it wasn't like the most outstanding, like hyped up performance, right? But if you listen to it and actually watched everything that he did, he put on a show.
It was a
Some people
it
understood
was
it,
a
and other
disc.
people, it just literally went over their fucking heads. And the comments definitely reflect that.
Can I tell you what I think it was? And I think this is the sentiment from a lot of people that actually did understand it. It was a diss track to to Drake, and it was
And
also a big and it also was a big fu to the government machine.
absolutely,
Yeah.
that's
I mean, those
exactly
are the
what it
two
was.
things
And
I got from it.
if you couldn't grasp that, that
Turn
means
off the
you were
TV.
just
Turn off the TV. Like, come on.
you literally were just there waiting to say something stupid and hateful because you didn't understand what was going on. And even if you did and you said that it was still whack and it was stupid, he was talking about you.
Well, see, and this is so. I'm a completely different perspective on this because I'm a straight old school hip hop head. I love hip hop shows. I love when dudes just stand around and rap and are actually
Oh,
having a
so you
message
really
and
liked
shit.
the Dre when Dre and them were there
I loved it. I
then.
loved
That
it.
was a good show,
That was
and
a
they
good
still
show.
But
hated on
the
that show.
Yeah.
but the difference is Kendrick is not that.
No,
Kendrick, I love Kendrick. He's not an entertainer. He's an MC.
and he's
It's
methodical.
Yeah.
different. There's those shows you're not going to look. When Philly played Kansas City last time, we had J Lo and Shakira. That's a party type of show. Pitbull, party type of show. Red Hot
Every
Chili Peppers, party type of show. Kendrick, this was not a party. The halftime show was not a party. It was Kendrick Lamar getting on TV, putting his dick out and saying "fuck you, Drake." Like that's exactly what it was. And to have 70,000 people screaming "A minor" and calling Drake a pedophile on
without saying it,
without saying it.
but
So
everybody else said it for him.
Yeah.
and
See,
he did, and
I
not
had to
just
look into this Diddy thing. I didn't even know that's what the song was actually about. Like I've heard it plenty of times, but I didn't realize that he says that. He literally looked in the camera at the end and goes, basically fuck you, Drake. He
that.
does what Paul does all the time to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, fuck you, Aaron Rodgers.
Straight to your face. Like
I just
it was just sheer. I think it was more like funny for me because I knew what was happening, and
well
just
look
the
if
squeak.
you
Listen,
to
the Uncle Sam thing with Samuel Jackson was
that's
just
funny.
fucking
That was pretty
hilarious,
funny. That was pretty
man.
funny. And then he kept
Like,
butting in
If
the
you
show.
but if you know hip hop, if you know Kendrick Lamar, there's nobody who's not gonna let. He was gonna do Not Like Us. It was not gonna happen. Like
Oh
the
yeah.
dude won 5 Grammys for that song. Of course, I'm doing that song every. I'll go to a fucking church and do that fucking song. Are you crazy? Of course, there's. If you pass up on that song, what are you doing? Like it's your biggest hit in 5 years by far. You got to do that song, and it just
and it's the
for the
way that he
people,
teased the song.
bro. For the people who didn't like the song, I would just tell you this: it wasn't for you.
No.
It just wasn't for you. Now look, there's some shit when you put on. Who did they put on? like 2014 or something was like AC/DC or some shit. That's not for me. That's not my halftime show.
But
That's the previous generation halftime
if
show.
you say or I say that shit was a shitty show, we're gonna get crucified.
Of course.
But then when we say when Dre put on his show in Inglewood,
I love that shit. That
but
shit
we
was
also
hard.
had a whole bunch of motherfuckers talking about that was a shitty show. That I was like, okay, because that show wasn't for you.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't for you. All right, I got to take a bathroom break. I'll be right back.
That was the funny part too. Like he came out and said in his song it was like right guy, wrong time or whatever, you know. Like he literally came out and said it. But he's always Drake and them have always had beef. I think it was even before the whole pedophile deal.
I think so.
But Kendrick Lamar is literally he's like he's an anti-political figure too. Like he has a lot of
And
songs
it's
that are
known.
like, yeah, everybody knows that. Like they knew this shit going in.
Like-
Like, you know. And then the president being there, it's like, come on, man. And then with the red, white, and blue, let's be honest. Come on.
Like
There's
all
a
these were
troll.
hits. Like they like you if you didn't see these shots being taken in this 25-minute halftime show, you're blind. And it's like
Literally
again,
came out, Paul, pop, 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 pop.
like
Come on,
it
man.
was.
They did it. It was great.
I thought it was great. Again, it wasn't for everybody, and that goes for any halftime show in the last 59 Super Bowls or however long they've been doing halftime shows.
Well, look at
There's
this.
always going to be a group of people that just don't enjoy it.
Look at how many people were pissed off when they changed the Monday Night Football theme song and they went country with it instead of, you know, Merle
What was it,
Haggard,
rock
remember?
or something?
It was Merle Haggard, but then they went with rock, and then they went back to some like, then they went back to like Faith Hill and like Tim McGraw or whatever. They kept switching it up, and people were getting pissed. We'll bring it back to Merle Haggard. And those are all the old jiggers, or what do you want to call them? You know, the old freaking
They just can't.
grandpappies.
They're just not happy with change, especially when it's
No,
too
they
drastic
hate
and
it.
it's going against what they know and what they're used to. And I'm like, listen, it's not about you guys anymore. There's a different demographic that they're trying to appeal to, and you're not it.
So you know what this is about right here? Did I tell you this story?
No.
Okay, so the I once caught a leprechaun is actually about my Sunday night football dream after the Super Bowl. I took these two gummies that were supposed to put me to sleep. They're melatonin, right?
Right.
They're ashwagandha and melatonin. If you guys want to look these up,
I do.
I can put a link to it later. They
I
help you
used to
sleep.
I used to take those things back in the day.
But I had the craziest dream ever. So I was literally at the Super Bowl, watched the Eagles win the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, we were leaving, and all of a sudden the entire thing just cleared out, and smoke appeared, and there was this little red, white, and blue leprechaun, like a little pot of gold rainbow, following him around. And I started chasing that little fucker, trying to catch the fucking pot of gold. And I'm running through the parking lot of the freaking stadium. I'm hopping over freaking benches, knocking garbage cans over. I wake up and I wake up and Mandy's like, "What the fuck is going on?" She's like, "I'm kicking my legs like I'm running in the bed and shit." I'm like, I was chasing after that fucking leprechaun. I'm like, this is kind of cool. And then I don't think I'll ever have a dream like that again because that literally scared the shit out of me. It was like the weirdest, most realistic dream I've had in a long time.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was one of those REM sleep dreams, you know, that you feel like you wake up and you're like, man, that felt really real.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I'm
Tackled
excited.
his ass though.
That
That's why I said I caught him. Caught that leprechaun.
he had a wicked dream. He was chasing a leprechaun
That was my Super Bowl dream. I told him
while he was fucking high on ashwagandha and
I
melatonin.
took 2 ashwagandha and melatonin gummies the other night.
Over
I
here,
had a
fucking
dream
delusional over
I had a
here.
dream I was at the Super Bowl, Mike, and I was chasing the leprechaun through the parking lot, and I caught that little bastard. I jumped over like 2 benches, knocked over a bunch of garbage cans, and I tackled his ass. And then he just turned into smoke and it disappeared. But it was like the craziest thing, and I was hugging my pillow. I told him, I said, I woke up and Mandy said I was kicking my feet like I was running, but like, you know, the little kicks, like I was a little down and after the leprechaun. It's just the weird shit, you know. And then
That's
gummies
funny,
make you
man.
do some weird shit sometimes. I don't know.
Melatonin's nuts.
Your body produces it, but it's like if you overload on it, it's almost like you really fucked your
Acid.
brain up, you know,
Yeah.
like not good.
So Sal, what about your future? New head coach, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator.
I'm like, I'm excited, but at the same time, there's too many unknown
It's
variables.
cautious optimism.
Yeah, like there's a lot of unknowns that still need to get answered. Moving into this off season and April when the draft gets here, like it's a lot of things need to make sense in order for me to be optimistic. We're gonna win more than 8 or 9 games this year. Like
Yeah.
it's just crazy. However, we will be Myron, his girl, and me and Maya. We're going to Chicago because the Saints are playing in Chicago. We don't know when yet because the dates haven't been released yet, but we're already making plans to head up to Chicago to see that game.
I
Because
think
I got to get
Philly
my
and
revenge.
Chicago play this
I
year.
got to get my revenge back from the Saints beating us in New Orleans. I'm like, I can't do that. Same bet still applies as last time. Loser has to wear the team's
Jerseys.
jersey and get recorded doing our slogan. So I'm hoping that I can get my little revenge tour. And on top of that, Dallas plays in Chicago, and one of Maya's cousins, he's a big Cowboys fan, and so
Ooh.
I want to be like Myron because when New Orleans came down to Dallas and spanked the shit out of Dallas at home, I want to be able to. We're gonna have a little watch party, and I want to be able to look him in his eye at his house, because we're doing the watch party at his house. So it's just gonna even better. I'm like,
Ooh.
I get to
I'm gonna
talk
get
shit in
you
your
a
own
I'm gonna
house.
get you a shirt made that says when Ben Johnson starts winning, it'll be Ben Johnson beat down. It'll be Ben Johnson just beating the hell out of
Oh
If
with a
we
man.
with a
can beat,
Bears jersey
if
on.
we can beat Detroit with Ben Johnson both times this year.
I think you guys would be happy just beating them once. I mean, I don't think
Yeah,
you need to beat them
listen.
twice. You're
If we
raising the
can beat,
bar
if we
way too high for the Bears. Like just once, one time would be great.
listen,
You beat the Packers once. I
if
mean,
we can go even in the division and just go 3-3, I don't care how it looks, but at least one of those wins, two of those wins, have to be at least
10 points.
to beating Detroit and beating Green Bay.
if the Bears go
Oh, okay.
500 in the division, they're a playoff team this year.
Oh yeah,
I
I
think
can,
that I
I
absolutely.
think that the NFC is kind
But
of
here's
way
the
it
problem
goes.
that you're facing. The Bears' offensive line still sucks dick,
So they at
and I
10 they
get the
have to
draft
take an
is,
offensive tackle, right?
you
bro.
have
You
it depends.
You
This
just have
offseason,
to.
there's at least two.
well, do you need
Trey
an
Smith,
off? Do you
I
need
think Trey Smith is on our target right now. Our top target this offseason.
which would make
If
sense
you
because why the
can't
fuck
get
not?
a free agent, if you can't get the free agent, you have to go in the draft.
You have to.
Well,
There's
think
no
about it,
question.
because who's what do you need? Left or right tackle more?
We need a right.
Because
Well, technically,
this draft
right
is
plays
super
left
left.
tackle. No, right plays right tackle. So we would need a left tackle. But the biggest thing I think right now, outside of
The
the
guards.
tackle, we need a center.
Oh well,
We
there's good sitters in this draft.
right. So if we
Um,
can get a good center to anchor the offense, I think we could get the bigger problems in the offseason.
you gotta get a good tackle. Really, you need two good tackles because the
Yeah,
problem is if Caleb has zero protection,
it's gonna be
he
all over again. It's 70 sacks
yeah
all over again.
he's got like the center. Yes, you got to work on the center, but at 10, there's I think this class is mostly left tackles.
It's definitely offensive line
Uh,
heavy to
you
where
can
you can. This is my thing. Do we
you should
go
at
offensive
10.
line at 10 or do we trade down or like what
But
Well,
here's the problem: if you trade down, what are you trading down for?
I don't know. That's
the only
I
thing
mean
Mike, the only thing that, and there's only one team they probably could do this with is trade down and get two picks in the 20s. And I think there's only one team they could technically do that with. But they would have
Yeah,
to they would have to trade with two teams in order to make that happen. You'd be giving up a second rounder, probably a future second round pick or something to
yeah.
be able to do this. And I don't think the Bears are in that situation where they want to do that.
No. I
all right.
honestly
So
this year they need to draft O line if they don't address at least one or two of those positions in the offseason, then priority in the draft I still think it has to be offensive line. Like
it's
it
got to
has to
be.
happen. Like this, and I
It's
think Ben Johnson is going to be able to make those. I think he'll have more of a say this year. I think
and you
Ryan
guys are
Poles.
finally getting was fucking Eberflus wasn't an offensive
No,
guy,
he was
was he?
defensive end. He was a
Yeah.
defensive minded
So you
coach. So
guys
I
are
feel like
finally
Poles being an
yeah.
offensive guy himself
and
being a
now getting
former.
his offensive coach.
I think we're
Yeah,
going to go in the direction of fixing finally the issue of the offensive line. We don't need any. I'm tired of people saying that we need to draft Genty or we need to go edge rush first. I'm like, listen, I
there
wouldn't
for
be
what?
surprised. I don't know.
Ashton Genty is a luxury pick that y'all don't have the
You'd be
luxury of
lucky.
He is a
affording.
shiny toy that we don't need.
He will be lucky to go in the second round.
I don't
And
want
not just
him.
that,
Because
and
And
we
it's
not
no
just
just
that,
did that for a
disrespect to
dime a
him.
dozen in the NFL.
you guys, and the other thing too is edge rush. You guys have bigger needs on defense than edge rush. Way bigger needs on
We
defense.
need defensive backs.
Your
Yeah.
safeties are ass.
You need a
Kevin
they need a
Byard
shut.
is crap.
They don't have a shutdown corner. I
Nope.
mean,
Well, we do. We
well,
got Johnson.
not a
Jalen.
Jalen Johnson.
he's not a
But
reliable shutdown corner.
I'm like, we could use another one.
You have a
I,
potential number one shutdown corner.
Well,
but
this is the thing, right? You could go corner in the first because there's the one of the corners from Texas is coming out. I know he's supposed to get big
So
money.
at 10, right? Ahead of you is New Orleans. New Orleans is probably going to go left tackle because Ramczyk didn't play last season for New Orleans. They're hurting
Yeah.
on the left tackle, right tackle. They need a tackle. McMillan, the Panthers probably going to take weapons for Bryce Young. The
Yep.
Jets, they're probably going to have to go defense. I mean, I don't understand where else they
Jets
would go.
are at what pick?
7. So then
They
you've
might go
got
quarterback.
yeah. Well, that's entirely possible now that Rodgers is basically adios senora.
Yeah.
So let's
do they
see.
cut him?
Yeah, he's
They
basically
said they're going to.
yeah. Mason Graham, Will Johnson, back-to-back Michigan, Jaguars, Raiders. Makes a lot of sense there with Tom Brady being
Mason
there.
Graham's the defensive tackle.
Yeah,
That's the
So-
guy that I want on Philly.
yeah.
Because this
he's
mother,
gonna he's gonna go top.
he won't
5
be there.
probably. No.
Yeah, I was about to say he won't be there, but
Because I think all of these are locks. Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, the edge from Penn State. I mean, I think
He's
was
going to
the
be gone
highest-
within the first
he
3-4
was,
picks.
he was
Bro,
the highest graded
did you
defensive
see-
edge rusher in the last like.
did
3
you
years.
see Abdul Carter posing with Jalen Carter and the Lombardi?
Yeah,
That dude wants to be an Eagle so bad, bro.
yeah. Unfortunately,
wish-
he's gonna. Go
There's
to
no
the
fucking
Browns.
there's no fucking way you're gonna be like a Jaguar or some
If
shit.
there's
Like,
any
Give him
fucking
3 or
way
4
that-
years, Mike, he might be around there. So.
yeah.
Just be patient.
But I'm just saying these are
I
all
mean,
locks. I mean, the top
why not?
8
We-
picks are pretty much gonna be locks. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. Be patient. Why not? We got Jahan Dotson from Penn State and Saquon from Penn State. So why not? This is, make these Penn State boys champions.
Yeah. I think this draft is going to be very interesting. I'm going to be
I think the
now that the
offseason's
the offseason's about to start. I'm going to start really diving into like the potential players that we're looking at, the targets that we need to be looking at, and realistically seeing what it is that's possible because we have $66 million in the cap space, so we have money to go get things and get the
And
players
it'll
that we
go up.
need.
Yeah.
So we're not unattainable players, and we have a roster that can make people be like, I think I could help get this team over that hump. We have
Team. Yeah. A
You
team
know,
that's desperate that would trade with you is probably Atlanta because they're in rebuild mode right now anyway.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean
at
they're
15.
gonna have to eat. They're gonna have to eat all of Kirk Cousins' fucking contract
So they're gonna want
because they're gonna
want
cut
get-
him.
Yeah, they're gonna want to get more draft capital to be able to cut that salary cap down.
Yeah.
So they're probably gonna want more picks. So you could probably trade a 3rd and a 4th round pick and get the 10th and 15th pick and give up your.
You know
3rd
who
and
I
4th
think
round picks.
Atlanta. I think Atlanta's gonna move off Kyle Pitts,
I think so.
I can definitely see that happening
bro.
because it's just not panning out, and I think it's more so Atlanta. He just doesn't
It's
fit
Atlanta.
in Atlanta.
It's not Pitts. Yeah, it's not Pitts. That dude's a
Right.
freak of nature.
Yeah.
It's Atlanta. So let me ask you guys this: if there was one splash, retarded free agent signing that your team could make, who would it be? Just money's not an object. Cap space isn't an object. You could give up whatever picks. It doesn't matter. Like flashiest, most ridiculous play that your team could make that you would absolutely
If we can get Trey Smith in free agency as our first offensive line signing, I would be happy with the moving forward. Because if they could do that, if they prove to me that they can make that move happen, it could basically let me know that okay, they're actually
They're
trying to
trying to
build a
move in a
team.
direction. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if they go and do something defensively, I'm like, oh shit, we're done. But if they go offensive line first in the offseason
And get a
and get a
Pro Bowl
a
player.
Pro Bowl offensive lineman, that gives me the confidence that Ryan Poles is actually listening to his coach of what he wants on his team to be successful.
I
Because there's
know
no
it's.
need for weapons like that anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, that would be a home run. That'd be a splash. That's your building block for
Yeah.
your offensive
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I would
it
say.
literally is Lane Johnson. Like
Yeah.
it's putting an anchor where you guys Chicago hasn't had an anchorable offensive line in what, 10 years?
I wouldn't even say that. I would probably go longer.
So, yeah.
But even then, I would say about 10, 15 years we haven't had somebody that like because
Trey Smith is a difference
the
maker.
last big guy I know down there that I trusted was Garza, and when they let him go, I was upset, and I knew why they let him go, but it's still I hated it.
Well,
What about you,
Paul?
Pat?
Would it make you feel better that he is plus 600 to the Bears?
Trey
They're the
Smith,
odds-on favorite to pick him up.
I'm like that's what I've been seeing. I've been seeing a lot of talk, a lot of
They've
chatter
got
as
Higgins is odds-on favorite to go to LA. Honestly, I'd like to see T. Higgins with Green Bay, but Green Bay is not going to give up.
They're not going to give him that money.
They're not going to give.
because
him
is it
that
going to
money.
be could it be a sign and trade
He's-
type deal, or is it gonna are y'all would it be
Who for T
For T.
Higgins?
Higgins,
If
it would
money
have to be a
wasn't
straight
an
up.
issue, and that if money wasn't
No,
an
I
issue,
think-
it would be T. Higgins. But
Yeah.
it's
I
just
think
not.
I think
That's
T Higgins is an unrestricted free agent this year, right?
right.
But they could still
He
do a
wouldn't be a
sign
sign
and
and
trade.
trade.
They could do that
But at
possibly.
26, he's going to want a max deal. It's
Yeah.
just,
It's and I don't think I like where Green Bay is at. Your receivers aren't the problem. It's everybody in that game with Philly got hurt. Everybody.
Yeah.
You're down to like your 6th-string wide receiver from the practice squad.
I
at one
told
point.
Charles this, Mike, that he doesn't want to hear it from me. I mean, I don't.
But
think
look,
fans
I
wanna
mean,
hear it.
listen,
That fucking
T-
team, they're soft.
T Higgins,
don't-
look, if you bring in a T Higgins, he could absolutely plus up what Green Bay has. The problem is the front office going to pay him what he wants? I don't know. You just gave Jordan Love a big money contract.
Huge.
Right.
So if
What do y'all got left?
bro,
What's y'all's cap space look like?
Oh, Green Bay. Yeah. Well, Rodgers and Bakhtiari are coming off the books, so they got plenty of money.
Okay.
yeah.
It's not in it. Money's
yeah,
not the issue. It's
no,
just that they
it's-
don't like to spend money, and the front office for Green Bay is not like a Philly or a
No.
New England. They just don't. They don't see
The fact that you guys got
Super
Josh
Bowl.
Jacobs and Xavier McKinney
Drives-
and free
yeah.
agent, it was like, what the
crazy.
fuck? The Green Bay Packers are making moves.
So
They
let me ask
never
you this
make-
then,
they
Pat.
do need it. They do need a number one to be able to take some
So-
pressure
Bro,
off. Like,
So let me ask you this, Pat.
You gotta
Seeing
have
what they
somebody.
did last offseason with Jacobs and McKinney, does that still doesn't give you the confidence that they could do it again this offseason to do something else, like another big splash?
I just don't know what they
Could.
would do. Devontae Adams is probably the only one that everybody seems to think, but that would mean that they would have to do something with the Jets, and I don't think the Jets are willing to negotiate with Green Bay for his contract.
Yeah.
To
I
split
thought
the money.
I thought they signed Devontae on a prove it deal, like a 1 year, like
It was 2 years. Apparently, they still own $23 million
Oh.
or some crazy shit. We talked about this one time.
that
They still own
organization
money.
is fucking
Yeah,
retarded,
they're
bro.
completely fucked. That's why I think they're just wiping their hands full of Rodgers, and it's like rebuild mode. But that sucks for people like Braylon Allen and the
Yeah.
whole running back room. The
Garrett
wide receivers,
Wilson,
Garrett
Brees
Wilson.
Hall.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
these guys are getting effed because of that. They all thought they were going into a good situation, getting
And they
Rodgers
got
as a quarterback.
Yeah, and then you
Fucking
realize that Aaron
beast.
Rodgers is a douchey piece of shit.
And not a
Um,
very and he's not clearly
he's
not as
not
what
a-
it used to be.
No, he's not a good human, and he's not a good football player anymore.
I think a lot of teams are probably just they're gonna focus on draft. I mean, the draft is coming up. We got a little over 2 months going on here. I mean, when does free agency really start kicking off here?
I think
March.
I think March,
Well,
early
about
March,
Into
mid
March.
March,
3, 4 weeks here probably.
something like
yeah,
that.
Into March because it was right. We signed Saquon. Was it after the combine?
Period.
It's right after the combine, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's like 3 or 4 days after the combine. I will have to say, if I had one, there's 2 players that I want Philly to go after either one of them. And Paul already knows, and he's going to tell me to shut the fuck up. We have enough toys.
Down.
I would like Myles Garrett or Max Crosby.
It starts March 12th. Calm the fuck down. Jesus Christ. Like,
bro, could you
can't
imagine,
have everything.
Could you imagine Myles Garrett on the defensive line with Jalen Carter? Who do you double team?
You really don't. You just have to live. You have to live with getting the ball out of your fucking hands really, really quick. That's it.
And let's not forget that Myles Garrett will jump over your long snapper and block your punts all day.
I have one word for you.
Shut up. Stop it. What?
Nope. What? Selfish.
Oh, of course.
Hey, you win the Super Bowl, you're allowed to be selfish. Like you're at the point now where it's like, what's the next thing that can happen?
If somehow, some way, the Bears are able to pull off a Myles Garrett trade and still have enough money to get offensive line, you guys are fucking cooked.
Bro, if there was any way, and that's the thing with a player like Myles Garrett, because if the Green Bay Packers got fucking Myles Garrett,
we're cooked. We're cooked.
You're automatically division winner bid, like just because of the name, right?
Listen, anybody in the division gets Myles Garrett is just like when we got Khalil Mack. Everybody knew y'all were fucked.
Oh, but then you guys didn't.
Hey, shut up.
Well, that was because the rest of the line couldn't hold up on defense.
Yeah, no shit.
They couldn't create.
Bro, Khalil Mack, the biggest blessing of his career was getting to San Diego.
Yeah.
Like, I love you, Paul, but like Khalil Mack was being wasted in Chicago.
They overpaid for the talent that they had left on the table. It was like finding an old grilled cheese sandwich and throwing it back on the burner.
Yeah,
it still probably smells good when you're cooking it, but
we had 2 good years and then 2 years of just like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
But that's the great thing about this time of the end of the NFL season is we can actually kind of sit back and say, look, Green Bay and Philly started off with an insane game in Brazil. Jordan Love played his balls off. Saquon played his balls off, and the year developed into Jordan Love is who we thought he was. He's fantastic as a quarterback. He's got some consistency issues, but he's essentially a second-year quarterback, so of course he has consistency issues. Because look at C.J. fucking Stroud's second year. It looked like dog shit. Right. Look at Anthony Richards' second year. It looked like dog shit. So Jordan Love, it really his second year as a starter, was what the Green Bay Packers were hoping he was.
Right.
And Caleb, as rough as his year was, there were moments where I was like, oh shit. Like, I don't think he's as good as people were saying. Caleb is not a generational talent to me. I think he's a great quarterback. But the only generational quarterback that came out of this class was Jaden Daniels.
Yeah. And I think Charles will bite his tongue on this one eventually when it's all said and done, that he was wrong about him being a one and done, one-dimensional quarterback. I don't think he's ever going to be like Lamar Jackson type quarterback.
I don't expect him to.
I don't expect him to either, but I expect him at some point in his career to maybe go to a NFC Championship game or even a Super Bowl. He might not win one, but I think he'll be that. He's what.
Are we talking about Caleb, or are we talking? Oh, you're talking about Jaden
Daniels.
Washington, yeah. Jaden's got a ridiculous future. Caleb, I think Caleb has very much the potential to turn into a heavyweight quarterback in the NFC.
Well, he has all the tools to be a really good quarterback.
The downfall, the biggest albatross around his neck, and this is not a shot at you, Paul, is that he went to the Chicago Bears. They have been a poorly run organization for so
Well,
long.
I think it should change now because one of
You got
our
an
I hope
kryptonites
so.
is gone.
you got an offensive minded coach, and I
But
believe he's going to
but
take us the
the
step
owner's
forward that
gone.
he needs. Yeah, yeah,
She went to
Yeah, I
Sikorsky
mean,
yeah.
Pieces.
R.I.P. McCaskey.
Yeah. I think though
when
still I think Ryan Poles now that he was allowed to do it his way because I don't think he wanted Eberflus. I think he was kind of maybe
forced
nudged
into that
into
situation.
picking Eberflus, and I think this time around because he knew one his neck was on the line, you know,
Right.
Yeah,
and he was on the hot seat. So I think he was like, "Listen, let me do this my way. Let me show you that what I did in Kansas City wasn't a fluke. Let me put a team together with a nice coaching staff and show you what I could do as the GM for this organization." And I think
yeah.
having Warren to back him up as the president to allow him to do these hirings, I think
It
one,
helps.
it helps to have somebody like that that has your back like that in the front
Yeah.
office with you. So again, I think it all depends on what road they go down this offseason. If they go down the road, like I said earlier, if they go down the road fixing that offensive line initially, and it's not to say that later in the draft they can't get no edge rushers or they can't get a secondary, you
Yeah.
know, that's but if in the first couple of rounds, if you address the main issues where it's the line, whether get the offensive line the first round, and then in the second round you can
And
address
then
the
go
defensive
edge,
line, that's fine.
defensive line,
But
cornerback.
at least you're showing me that hey, you're trying to get the trenches in check. Because at the end of the day, that's what needs to be solidified to be able to do anything anywhere on this field.
Yeah, and if you look like this is what kills me, right? Like Chicago, the talent is there.
Yes,
Like your receiving core is insanity. Insanity. DeAndre Swift, I don't care what anybody says.
he did good
DeAndre
this year
Swift
with what he's
had
got.
he had great moments for you guys.
And
Uh
Roshan Johnson was a good third down back, and them heavy, and when we needed them short yardage or them end zone touchdowns,
he was
you know,
there.
he was there.
So you guys have foundations. What what I think is going to really need to get offensive line, we know. I mean, from left tackle to right tackle, you guys need essentially an entire new offensive line. But that's not going to happen in one offseason. It's just not going to happen. It's impossible. If you get Trey Smith this offseason, I consider that a huge offseason acquisition and a win and the best offensive player that Chicago's had in 20, 25, 30 years. Um, but your defensive line needs to get rehauled too. That's the
Yep.
other thing. Like y'all were
On
not getting penetration
both
like that.
sides, it
Yeah.
needs to get addressed. I'm not denying
So
that for anything, but it,
if you go offensive line in the first round, go defensive line or edge in the second round, and then you manage expectations after that, like you can
I'm
get you can get great offensive line pieces in the fifth and sixth round.
absolutely.
We got you're very familiar with Amoro Ojomo
Yeah.
from Texas. You know what he had in the Super Bowl? A sack. You can get pieces. You know when we drafted Moro Ojomo? The seventh round.
Listen, I know there's gems in the late rounds. It always happens.
So so you guys and it's just I'm gonna copy what I said for you earlier. For Chicago, I'm cautiously optimistic because maybe having an offensive head coach is what you guys needed this whole time. Maybe it's the difference, the change. Instead of going from fucking defense to defense to defense to I have no idea how to coach a quarterback to I have no idea how to coach wide receivers. Now you're getting a guy who his whole resume,
Offense.
including this last run, is offense.
Yeah.
And great offense,
Yeah.
creative offense. Like something Chicago hasn't had a creative offense in years.
It's going to be interesting to see because
So,
the way that he runs the offense.
and I know it feels like I keep dumping on Chicago, but it's just like this is a really cool time. There's a lot of potential. Green Bay is going to be what Green Bay is. The Jordan Love, the receivers, your defense. Green Bay's defense in the next couple of years, especially depending on this draft, is going to be retarded too. Like that, your man, your linebacker, Edrin Cooper. That kid is fucking
The Bears just
bananas
need to
for y'all.
stay relevant and they need to stay focused on what they
Yeah.
need to do to get better. Like
Yeah.
you can't expect the Chicago Bears to go from, what they were before. Let's be honest. I mean, not a knock on them, but basement dweller to being Super Bowl contender. It does not happen overnight.
Nope.
Um, and I think the problem is a lot of people that are literally fans just they expect, well, you get a new coach, you've got a good draft pick. The reason you're in this situation is because you didn't have a good season. The good
Yeah.
draft pick is to build, it's a building block. It's like you don't go out and buy the entire Lego set and put it together in one weekend. You go and you buy one thing, put it together, build it, add on to it. I mean, this is like a children's thing. You can call it building blocks, call it whatever you want. Uh, it is what it is. I mean, it's the same thing with school.
Yeah.
You go learn a
I'm,
subject, you go learn a thing, you brush up on stuff, you get better.
yeah. I mean, if you look like the changes, if you look at winning franchises, right? There's always changes every single offseason, every single one. The Chiefs, Juju Smith Schuster came back, D Hop, this, that, and the third. The Eagles, we motherfucking Hassan Reddick had 10 plus sacks every year for us. We got rid of him.
Yeah.
We brought in Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff isn't working out. You know what they did for him in the Super Bowl? They put his ass on the bench. That's a $51 million edge rusher they put on the bench because it wasn't working. You have to understand that sometimes you're going to get kicked in the nuts. But as a leader, you make your decision and you fucking stick with it and you live with the consequences. Dude, this is why I can always go back to Philly as one of those teams that is never stagnant. We took $100 million cap hit for Carson Wentz. And then 3 years later, we're in the Super Bowl. So it can be done. It can absolutely be done. And, kind of the last thing I'll say, just like on the whole thing is the season was fantastic. I can't wait till next season. I'm excited. I think the NFC is going to be better next season than the AFC.
It's gonna.
Yeah.
I can say that.
I can see that, yeah. I mean, arguably that's probably why Philly won the Super Bowl. They were probably the best team all season.
Yeah, I
And
mean, you
I
could
don't
you
even
could
think there
have
was
given
really a
it.
question mark around it.
You could have given the first week, the very first week, the Saints were the best team in the league. They just came in buzzsaw, right? Nobody expected them. Bing, bing, boom, and then they dominated the Cowboys week 2. And you could say, but Philly shut that bullshit down when we fucking almost blanked in that game. But you could say Detroit a couple of times throughout the year was probably the best team a couple of times.
Had the
There was
Detroit
maybe
Lions not got defense not completely got decimated, that would have been a really good NFC championship game.
Oh, it definitely wouldn't have been no fucking 50. There wouldn't have
Right.
been no double nickel.
Right.
There
I
wouldn't have
still
been
think
that. But
Philadelphia would have won because
yeah,
Detroit just doesn't know how to win. But,
yeah.
it would have been better,
It would have probably been way closer.
more entertaining.
But
Yeah.
yeah, oh, for sure. But you've got big contenders in the NFC, and you've got these teams like it's next season's gonna be fantastic. I will say, I fucking hope they don't go to an 18 game season. I hope it doesn't happen.
No, I hope they
It's
don't need that.
it's so retarded. It's so ridiculous, man.
Going to a 17 game was dumb enough already.
That's true.
Yeah, I didn't think we needed that one, but
It is what it is. But I'm excited now. I hate that the season's over, but at the same time, now it's time to figure out. All right, boys, what are we made of now? Like now,
well, you
The
still
because
got
boys become
baseball.
men.
I hear you. I'm talking about it in the fact that like the Bears now, you got your shiny new head coach. All
Oh
right,
yeah. Like,
now
all right, motherfucker, here's your opportunity. Yeah.
now let's go. Let's see what you're made of. I'm gonna give this year, depending on how we go, I'm gonna give this year. I'm like, all right, if we can get at least 8 wins, okay, all right, cool, all
How
right,
many wins did you guys get this year?
5,
How many wins did you guys get last year?
7,
Ooh.
no 4. No, 4.
Yeah, they
Okay,
improved.
so then
It took a step
it's an
forward.
improvement.
It is what it is. Whatever.
Next year, if you guys
Ow.
get 8 wins next year, that's fucking fantastic.
This is the thing, though. This is, and people fail to realize this. Most of our losses, outside of maybe 1 or 2, were less than a touchdown.
Close. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So
I
I'm like, if
still
we can
look,
figure out
if
how to
your
close those
safeties-
games, it's a fucking wrap.
If one of your cornerbacks wasn't dancing in the end zone,
Not even
during
just
Washington's
that.
game,
Not even just
if
that.
your safeties knew how to do the fucking tip drill,
Or if we know
and
how
one
to,
wasn't,
if we knew how to call timeout with
Mike,
30
let's
seconds
break
left
this
on
down.
the clock.
We wanted to break this down before. Charles didn't want to get into it. Paul probably didn't want to get into it. Do you think that literally changed the entire outlook of the season for the Bears?
yes.
I'm just gonna say this.
It was such a bad look for the team.
At that point, we were 4-2, right?
And you were on the cusp of being 5-2.
We went
Yep.
1-11 for the remainder of the year.
Yeah.
Yep. It's the catalyst. It is absolutely the catalyst of what.
Well, negativity
Because it's
just
not- it's-
swirled around the entire team after that game too.
It was
if
just a
would've-
downhill after that.
But if it would have just been a missed tip drill, right? But the guy was lined up where he was supposed to be. Okay, fluky plays
You
happen.
live with that.
You're out 30 yards away from the formation, dancing and talking
Why are
shit
you
to
tipping
fans.
it in
Jumping
the
jacks,
air,
yeah.
though? Why are you tipping the ball
Tip it
in
down.
the air? They always,
pick it
y'all
off.
literally do these
Supposed to
drills in
swat
practice
down.
all the time. Swat the ball to the ground.
Yep, tip it down.
And this is the thing. There's almost 99% fact that they're not going to call PI on that last play. Because there's like 10 people crowding each other.
You wouldn't be able
There's
to
no
tell who
way.
did it. Yeah.
So just pat the ball down. Make sure that nobody on the other team can get access to the ball. That's your one
know, it's-
job.
It's funny. It's funny. Everybody says, "Oh, the Philly special, or not Philly special. The brotherly shove is a rugby play." No, the tip drill, that last minute Hail Mary tip drill, that's a rugby play.
That's definitely
The
more
only
of a
difference
rugby
is
play.
the only difference is you can't pick your teammate up by the hip so he can catch the ball. That's the
Yeah,
only
you
difference.
can literally push on each other's shoulder pads, and the officials do not care.
Yeah, you're gonna fucking. They don't give a shit. This
Wasn't
season's
it
been.
It was the Aaron Rodgers one, the fail Mary.
Yeah.
Where the tight end literally was like shoving players for the Detroit Lions out of the way to catch the ball in the end zone. I'm like, yeah, it's definitely.
There's just
rugby
no.
play.
It's too chaotic to prove who did what and to flag. You're not gonna flag an entire fucking defense. It's not.
That's
happening.
why they allow. That's why they let it go, because it's a free for all. It's literally
Too much chaos.
yeah.
Yeah, you could not officiate that play.
No, you call there's literally a penalty on every player that's pushing and shoving because you're putting your hands on each other.
Yeah, your entire defense would be penalized. But this football season, off season is gonna be, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, next
Yes,
week
Travis-
you guys should get your wish list together for your draft board. We should get our draft board
I can
together.
do that.
'Cause Charles
Get a-
wanted to
Okay.
bring that up.
I can definitely do that.
Yeah,
then
I'll
we'll,
start putting one together.
And then we'll also do our grades for the season too. We'll do the worst
Okay.
player, worst grade, and the best grade.
Okay.
Probably
Alright.
a couple players in there like Travis Kelce. I mean, that literally
Oh,
had
man.
like one of the worst seasons of his
CMC.
career. CMC.
That dude didn't have a bad season. He just had shit
He
luck.
got.
I'm like,
he got
but-
shafted.
You get arthritis in both your fucking feet.
And you have to go to Germany to try to fix it, and the Germans say,
And then you
Cannot
come
fix
back and bust your Achilles open. Like,
Oh,
geez.
speaking of Achilles, let's talk about karma for a second for fucking Mr. Touchy Pants.
Which one?
Like, Mr. Touchy Pants Watson.
Oh, okay. I thought we were gonna talk about Tucker.
Well, another Mr. Touchy Pants. But no, Watson in the game, rupturing his Achilles.
And then 2 months later,
then re-rupturing. Bro, if
and now
that's not
possibly
karma,
you might get
that's
voided
not-
out your contract because you weren't wearing your
bro,
boot.
If that's not God saying, "I told you," God looked at Deshaun and was like, "I told you, don't play with me." Like
gotta suck.
I
He
will,
was looking at
I will give
Deshaun,
you.
looking at Tucker. He was looking
Oh,
at
you
a
guys-
lot of them fools.
This is why you've been missing all year, huh? Because you don't know how to keep your
Tucker-
fucking hands to yourself.
Dude, the fact that
'Cause
he's like
he's got-
banned
he's-
from a bunch of massage freaking rooms is like everything you need to know about the guy's character. He's a piece
Terrible.
of shit.
Yeah,
Terrible.
Tucker's gonna end up retiring in the offseason because he sucked this year, and obviously he's sexually assaulting.
He's giving
female
every
masseuses and
guy
stuff.
who literally thought that going and getting a massage is a cool thing to do with your wife a bad rap because he thinks it makes it look like every guy wants to go there and get a freaking handy from a massage therapist.
Yeah,
a
really.
masseuse.
It's-
Come on now. It's never even been a thought in my mind to even ask literally anybody about giving me a massage. Like the old lady, like, hey, you want to give me a massage? You want to rub my shoulders? Yeah, it's happened like maybe twice in my entire life. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that I've gotten a back massage. Like, and these dudes are out there literally every time and like shooting their shot, trying to get their the rocks off. It just blows my mind that these people are that bold and arrogant.
It's professional athletes.
Yeah, I get it.
It's-
I'm important, you know.
These guys are untouchable in society. What now? All right. Well, I got things.
Yeah,
I
get
gotta
the
go
list
with him,
together
too.
next week.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see them.
Yeah.
All I want a breakdown, a wish list from you. At least one player in the draft.
Okay.
A gimme, want, need.
Okay.
All right, I can do that. I
don't even care if it's top 5. You tell me. You explain to me how you're gonna get there, what you're gonna give up, and I just want this to be your little fantasy pick. You know.
I can do
We
that.
can do
I can
that.
manage that.
Hell
I want
yeah.
to do one too, and I already know Mike. I already know Mike says he's gonna give up every draft pick because he's like, just
You've
give us
seen
Garrett
his
and
draft
just
mocks
give us
already.
Garrett and we'll be fine. I don't care about it.
Yeah. Give up Bryce Huff and our first in 2026. Fuck 'em.
Honestly, I bet you could give up Huff in a first rounder, and you probably could get Garrett. I mean, honestly.
Oh, yeah. Bryce Huff is 3 years younger.
Yeah, because they would
He's
just say,
$50 million cheaper.
yeah.
Yeah, but he also has no production.
We'll
I mean,
see.
they're obviously okay with that because they gave Tucker money.
Yeah, true. It's true. All right, gents.
All right,
right,
till
humans.
next week. As Charles
Yeah.
would say, we are never alone. We've never been alone.